Hi everyone, this is Stephanie with the Wildlife Center. But we are going to talk about coyotes today because that's one thing that's what I had mentioned last week that we would talk about. But before we get started with everything, everyone please chime in where you're listening from. Any questions you have, I'll try to get to them in this live. If not, I will do it afterwards in regards to coyote. All right, so let's go ahead and get started about coyotes. And I know that I will get some heat from some people on how they feel about coyotes, and I can take it because I will always advocate for God's creatures. I will. There is a purpose for everything. Everything has a role in the ecosystem. So I will give you the facts as I know them. I don't have any notes, so I'm hopefully going to be able to remember it all in order from what I've learned over the years. And hopefully change a few minds or just give you guys some solutions in handling it. But I know that there are people out there that absolutely hate them, and there's nothing I can say or do that's going to change their mind about them. But I'm a true believer in you can't love what you don't know. So we get coyotes in all the time. And I will say that of anything that we get in care, they are more terrified of humans than anything else we get in. They are so scared of us that a lot of times, well, most of the time, they curl up in the corner. They almost look paralyzed, and they will start defecating or urinating and trying to look away because they feel like if they don't look at you, then you don't exist. They are that scared of us. We've only one time, I can say since I've lived in Amarillo, had one coyote where he was really, really aggressive, and it was a coyote wolf hybrid. And so I will just say that it's most of the time they're very, very scared of us. They will usually mate at the beginning of the year. So around January time is when they're going to mate. Gestation's around 65 days. Okay. Puppies will be born between March and May, and your litter sizes are 4 to 6. I would say 3 to 5 is what we normally see, but 4 to 6 is the average. When we go to release coyotes, we always try to release in packs, and we have to do it within the county that they come in because they're considered a rabies vector. So we have guidelines that we have to follow. The reason why we release coyotes in packs is because then during the times like winter and such where food is more scarce, they work together to provide food for the pack. If you take a lone male pup that we've raised and then we took him out and just said, good luck, buddy, we know you know how to hunt while in care, he is not going to do very well. He's very likely not going to be accepted by another pack. A female is a little bit easier, but the males for sure, it's much tougher. So we always try to form packs here prior to release, and always on protected land, like thousands and thousands of protected land, acres of protected land. So that is our goal with them because they help, keep a balance to the smaller predators. Or rodents and bunnies. They eat a lot of rodents, including prairie dogs, and I've got some here in the office. So they will eat prairie dogs. They will eat rabbits. In fact, I had a rancher once tell me that, and he did ranching and farming, that he had a really bad coyote issue. So he was just shooting them as quick as he could see them. And then he got overrun by rabbits, and they started eating all of his crops. So he was very, very frustrated, and he had an aha moment, so to speak, and realized, okay, we need coyotes. They are going to keep these guys under control. There is a balance to everything. Now, saying that, I'm not going to sit here and say that all coyotes want peace. They don't. There are your rogue coyotes, just like humans. Most people are very good. Humanity is mostly good. But you are going to have your people that are not. It's the same thing with coyotes. You're going to have some rogue ones, some that are more aggressive, some that are going to go after larger things to eat. Most of the time, they just like the afterbirth with cattle, but I do know that they have gone after cattle before. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they just want peace and harmony because that's not true. There are going to be more brazen ones that for larger litter sizes are going to try to bring back some bigger prey to the den for the female and the pups. When you have those rogue situations where the coyotes are causing issues, they're getting a little too close for comfort, especially during breeding season. So you start seeing that around like December through February. You're like, you know what? They're going a little closer to the house than I like. Super soakers, paintball guns. Those are the two things that help a lot. So super soakers and paintball guns, they need that contact to know, you know what? She means business. She don't want me near her house or where her dog is outside. So go ahead and let them know with that physical contact you need to back up. But you're wasting your bullets if you're just shooting them. You will never control the coyote population because they are self-regulating species. So if they have smaller pack sizes due to their pack being, killed off, the female's going to have larger litters next time. So it's a non-stop cycle. You're thinking, I just killed 2 coyotes, so that's going to be 2 less. Well, a couple things will happen. Either you're going to have more coyotes coming in because there's a food source there, which is feeding that pack. And so now they're going to come in. They might be more aggressive than the pack you had before. And 2, the females are going to have a larger litter size. So just keep that in mind when you're getting really frustrated with the coyotes that you have. But again, you are going to have some rogue ones. Most of them are going to stay far away. They'll look at you from a distance and they're going to leave. I know they have gone after some people's pets. They are nocturnal animals. So if you've got a little Yorkie and you live in the country, don't leave Fluffy out that weighs 5 pounds at night by herself. Especially with owls, coyotes. Most of the time foxes are not going to go after them. They have very, very small mouths. You might with a red fox, but not a gray. But I would definitely, keep an eye on them when you're taking them outside. So you have to, again, you moved into their area. This is where they've been living, and you kind of have to work around that. The other thing I get a lot of times is, they're going to attack my children. They're going to attack Granny when she's outside. That's not normal, folks. That's going to be more of your rabid cases. I think there was one near a beach. I don't want to say the wrong state. Goodness, you hear the prairie dogs? Where that happened, where there was one that was rabid and it was biting people, and it went after a kiddo, and the dad intervened and was able to stop that. So that's not normal behavior. That's not common. And so yipping, the yipping, screaming, howling. So the Latin term for coyote means talking dog, and that is because they're very vocal animals. And they will talk a lot at night because they're up and awake. They're sleeping most of the day, but it's to communicate with other members of the pack or other packs to claim territories and things like that. They're not saying, hey, everybody, we just killed a giant jackrabbit. That's not what they're saying, because they're not going to want to bring in any other predator to come in and take the food that they just hunted for. So just keep that in mind. When they're yipping and talking, it's more about them communicating to each other. Hey, this is my turf, things like that. So that conversation is not to celebrate that they've killed something, because we get that question a lot too. Someone says, we have them here. A couple attacked a large dog a couple days ago. That is really unfortunate, Irene. And in that situation, we would advise the people of that own that dog, and I know that had to be really, really tough for them, to try doing paintball guns, super soakers. Worst case scenario, you can reach out to your local game wardens, because there are specialized hunters for situations like that where everything has been done and you've just got a very aggressive coyote, and they will bring a team in to take care of that. So, but again, this is the exception. This is not the rule. So it's not that common. A lot of coyotes live in peace with other people. I'm sure there are people even watching today that have coyotes. They hear them every night. They know they're around. They don't either see them or they don't have any issue with them. Does anybody else have any other questions about coyotes? If not, I'm going to just tell you that we teamed up a few years ago with Princeton University. We had a coyote come in care, and he was a mega hunk, I'm not going to lie. His name is Wiley. He was raised by people, and I noticed he didn't look like the typical coyote. He had a lot more deeper red. He had a fuller face. He had bigger space between the eyes. His body measurements were longer. I think it was like 35, 36 long from the shoulders to where the tail meets. Not the tip of the tail, but right at the beginning. And that was pretty large. And I think he was closer to 40 pounds, which, believe it or not, the coyotes around here are not typically around that size. You're going to see around 20 to 30 pounds maybe. So I had reached out to a couple of organizations that I knew were doing DNA testing, and I got a hold of Bridget up at Princeton, who was running this study, and I said, hey, can I send you some blood samples? And it turned out he was almost 40% red wolf and the rest coyote. So we went ahead, and every coyote that came through care, we did a skin biopsy and we pulled blood, and we sent that off to Princeton University. And I can tell y'all that every single sample we got back that was tested had red wolf DNA. Even ones we were like, there's no way. They all had red wolf. And they had thought that red wolves were extinct in Texas because in the 80s, they supposedly caught them all. I mean, but how do you know you really caught them all, right? They caught them all and they took them to North Carolina. But there's no way to really know that. So they've been breeding with coyotes in the wild. And so some researchers would say, and I can post some links on this, where the researchers are talking about it, that it's going to help keep that the red wolf from going extinct. And they're starting to see, and I can't say this is fact yet, but that some of the coyotes with a larger percentage of red wolf are seeking out other coyotes with a larger percent of red wolf, almost as to bring the species back, so to say. But again, not fact yet, but they're just starting to see that a little bit. So it's very interesting. In fact, we have a few in care now that we're going to go ahead and send off for testing and see what their percentages are. But it's very interesting. So everything that we have gotten, that we have tested, is coyote and red wolf. So it's not just straight coyote. It's if I'm going to see if I know there's a link on the Princeton University about this, so I will make sure and put that in the comments so y'all can go back if you're interested and read about what they're doing, because Texas isn't the only area that they're testing. There are other states as well. So does anybody have any other questions regarding coyotes? Let's see here. Laura says that her backyard borders with a golf course in Portland, Oregon, and they have 2 packs, and she loves them. She hears them and has lived there 22 years and never had any kind of problem with them. So, and that is the norm, folks. That is the norm. But again, there are exceptions where they're more aggressive. So paintball and super soakers. Now I'm going to take you guys inside. We got a coyote in care and quickly noticed, and we've got 3 in care right now, and we noticed that she was running into walls. She had really bad diarrhea, which they get a lot of hookworms out in the wild, and mange. She didn't have mange. We treated her for hookworms. And sorry, real quick, Suzanne, jumping walls and grabbing smaller dogs, that can happen. We always recommend, especially in the evening, to make sure you're monitoring your smaller dogs when you walk them outside. If you live in the country too, if you're living in their area. If there's a lot of construction going on, I know in DFW they're expanding so much that it will seem, sorry, these flies, it will seem like they are in the city, but they're pushing their habitats more and more and more, and they're coming into the city. And I know they're having that issue with bobcats too out there. But if you've got a very, very small dog and you live in their area, walk them outside. Alice said sometimes she sees them during the day running through their property. Yes, that can happen, especially during baby season when the female needs more food to feed the pups to keep up with the milk supply. So again, raccoons, foxes, Coyotes, skunks, it's not uncommon to see them out during the day in the summer when they have babies and they have to keep up with the milk supply. It's the behavior you want to watch. Them scampering across your yard or seeing them in the distance, that's not to be alarmed. Them coming towards you, their fur looking unkept, dragging a limb, usually a back leg, but any limb, doing circles. Those are all things where you need to get animal control, game warden, or a rehab center involved. Those are things to be concerned about. But baby season, if you've ever had kids, I've had kiddos, you're hungry all the time when you're nursing. And the men are very attentive, and they go out there and they will get the food and bring it back to the den for the nursing mom or for the pups, so she doesn't have to leave them. Okay, so regarding this female, this little coyote, took her in on Wednesday to see Dr. Wolf and Dr. McKnight, and she is blind. So she's not real aggressive, but she gets scared because she can't see, so she runs into walls. And but she will also kind of bump into your leg, and when she realizes that, she stops, and she's not showing any kind of aggression towards us. So we are not really sure what her end goal is going to be yet. Coyotes typically are not good ambassadors. They're so scared of people that they get stressed very easily, and they have, they'll start defecating on themselves and things like that, which would not be good at a school program. So we're going to see what we can do to kind of work with her a little bit, maybe a sanctuary. I'm not ruling out ambassador, just because it would be amazing to have a coyote ambassador, but we would want to do it where she's not going to be stressful. So, yeah, Lisa, we've never seen coyotes and roadrunners running together, but we have seen coyotes and badgers running together. That's a cool fact. They will run together and hunt. The coyotes will run the top of the land. The badgers will run the bottom of the land after, plug your ears, kids, prairie dogs. And whoever is on top of the land, the coyotes will get the prairie dog, or if it's under, it's going to be the badger. So they will team up. There's actual video of that, and there's a video of them hanging out together. So, all right, well, we're going to go inside. I'm going to show you this coyote. Hopefully, she's not going to be able to see us, but if it gets a little too stressful for her, then we'll we'll back off from that. So, Jessica, is she all ready for us to go look at her? Okay. All right, we're going to walk out of this building and go over there. And Harmony said, y'all will do right by her for sure, whatever happens. We sure will. We sure will. We don't know what her future looks like, and we're just trying to be honest about that. I'd like to make sure that she gets to live a full life, and not sure how that's going to look yet. Okay, so let's head that way. Okay, here she is. We're going to go in here. Hi, sweet girl. So this is her right here, guys. And she is blind, and there is no way to correct it. They said absolutely no way. So hi, sweet baby. So we'll just work with her a little bit and see how she progresses. Earn her trust. She's still in quarantine. I believe her quarantine is up tomorrow. We do a 10-day quarantine. Of course, we do deworming, vaccinations, because she is a canine. The most common things we see in coyotes that we get in care is horrific cases of hookworms, which is an intestinal parasite, mange, parvo, distemper. Those are the biggest things. But for the most part, she's pretty docile and pretty darn cute she is. The vet said she's roughly 10 weeks old. So you guys can kind of see her in there. Hi, sweet girl. You're being so good. So after her quarantine, she will move into a larger enclosure where she can run around and get a little bit more exercise. But anytime you do quarantine, it's going to be a little bit smaller cage. It's a large cage. I mean, she can get up and move around really well. Curtis, we did see a fat coyote, I want to say about 6 months ago, and he was picking off some sheep. So from a sheep farmer locally who was not happy, and we don't blame him. So he actually had snared him, and we had to intervene and help out. But again, there's a balance to everything. There really is. Thank you for letting us video you, sweetheart. You're being so good. You are. She does. She has really big ears to grow into. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you, and I'm trying to remember what it was. And they do come in with a lot of ticks, too. Robert, we're not sure if she'll be a good ambassador or not. We'll have to work with her some, because typically they're just so skittish and so scared. It's very stressful for them. And we got to think about more than just what we would like, what would be comfortable for them. So, but we do really like her demeanor. Very, very sweet. We have not tested her yet, Alyssa, to see how much red wolf she has, but we are going to send off a sample, and it usually takes 6 months, sometimes to a year, to get those results, so it takes a while. You're like a supermodel, Coyote. You're so adorables. All right, well, I think that's it for today. If you guys have any more questions regarding Coyote, Coyotes, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them, and if I don't know, I will find out. I will put a link on the comment section about the work that Princeton University is doing on coyotes and red wolves. I hope y'all learned something new today. I hope these lives are helping. I try to just educate the best I can in the easiest way possible, that where everyone's going to understand and feel comfortable asking questions, even if they're hard questions. Because that is our passion, is just to educate and to help the wildlife get back on their journey. All right, well, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Friday. That will be Deidre and Christy, and they will have an opossum, our opossum ambassador. So all you opossum lovers will get to see those cute little noses and toes and everything about them. And they're extraordinary animals. Okay, we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.